Babe of the day. Babe of the day. Pamela Anderson. I liked her before she was even famous. To be honest, I'm not surprised she became a big name. Everybody has their ups and downs. Pamela personifies that statement. Throughout it all, though, Pamela was a big name star and the 1990s answer to Marilyn Monroe. As Marilyn was the premier blonde of the 1950s decade, so was Pamela for the 1990s and 2000s. Pamela was the first of two women to play the Tool Girl on TV's Home Improvement. Come back Wednesday for Debbie Dunning, the second Tool Girl. In the meantime, if you like my videos and want to see them sooner, become a member for just $1.99 a month. That's cheaper than chips. I always try to keep 1 to 2 weeks ahead in my full videos, but there are tons of shorts, as well as some members-only stuff. This video's riddle. Pamela Anderson was a good playmate who liked tools. Then she took her antics to the beach. She played with barbed wire and became a V.I.P. before ultimately becoming the last Showgirl. What the heck am I talking about? Have I gone over the falls? Maybe, but pay attention. Everything I said will make sense by the end. Pamela the Playmate. The thing that really sprung Pamela to fame was Playboy magazine. She became the cover girl for the October 1989 issue. There's no way she could have known it back then, but she would end up being on the cover a total of 14 times, more than any other girl in the magazine's long history. The last time was for the January-February 2016 issue. Even with that, she wasn't an instant superstar. Playboy chose her as Playmate of the Month for the February 1990 issue, and that's when things started bubbling up. Pamela started appearing on TV after that. The show, Married with Children, was a certain milestone that every hot young actress back then wanted to reach. It was a popular comedy show that featured sexy women all the time. Without a doubt, if you got on Married with Children, you were going to be noticed. Pamela was in 2 episodes, one in 1990 and one in 1991. In 1991, she was even in an episode of the show's spin-off, Top of the Heap. Pamela's first Married with Children appearance was outstanding and totally unforgettable. She was one of Al Bundy's 2 fantasy women. The other was Becky Mullen. Ultimately, the two get into a catfight. It's total bimbo stuff, but purposely made over the top for comic effect. Her second appearance was just as bimbo-y. This time she played one of Al Bundy's 5 fantasy women, where he regales them with the story of how he beat the robots at the first intergalactic Super Bowl. Pamela then suggests giving him a whipped cream bath. It was clear from this point that she wasn't going for the distinguished highbrow roles. Lisa, the Tool Girl. Amazingly, after that, she got a significant recurring role on a family sitcom. In 1991, Pamela Anderson became the first Tool Girl, Lisa, on Home Improvement. This quickly became a hit series that launched the career of Tim Allen, as well as the careers of his co-stars. Pamela played Lisa for the first 2 seasons, and in one season 6 episode for a total of 23 episodes. I thought she was good on this show, and she had a number of memorable moments, but she was always treated as a side character, and we never got to know much about her. This was corrected somewhat in the season 6 finale, when Lisa makes a return guest appearance on Tool Time, and we discover that, since season 2, she became a paramedic. By this time, in real life, Pamela Anderson was a huge star, and she was quite a get. Seriously though, between the 2 Tool Girls, Debbie Dunning as Heidi was the best. Heidi's appearances started out small, like Lisa, but she ultimately became an important character to the cast. Debbie Dunning herself became a star in her own right. She stayed with Home Improvement for the rest of its long 8-season run. Top Baywatch babe. When you get to be on a hit series, awesome things happen. Pamela was on Home Improvement from 1991 to 93. She became a main cast member of another hit show in 1992. This was Baywatch, and she played C.J. Parker from 1992 to 97. Baywatch was famous for its many sexy lifeguard girls. Pamela wasn't the first by any means, but she became the most popular Baywatch girl of all time. When anyone thinks Baywatch, they think of Pamela Anderson bouncing around in her tight red one-piece in slow motion. If you're a girl, you probably think of David Hasselhoff. There were a lot of other Baywatch girls, and they're all awesome. But for better or worse, Casey Jean Parker was the breakout character of the cast. This, more than anything else, is what made Pamela Anderson a household name. Pamela Anderson's popularity became epic in 1992. Just like that, when you thought of hot blonde actresses in the 1990s, Pamela Anderson was the first person that came to anyone's mind. As far as acting skill goes, no one was that impressed. She didn't take on heady roles anyway. Pamela was the blonde sex symbol of the decade, and that's all there was to it. The Muppet Connection. Pamela Anderson became so popular that she got her very own Muppet character. For real. In 1996, there was a revival of the Muppet Show called Muppets Tonight. Along with the classic characters, there were a lot of new characters. Pamela Hamderson was one of the sexy stars of the skit Bay of Pigs Watch. Like Pamela, she was well endowed with long, blonde hair, but a pig. Pamela was given a funny bimbo voice, and she was one of the best gags of Muppets Tonight. An awesome show that was filled with great gags. Sadly, the show was canceled after 2 very short seasons. The character was phased out in future Muppet projects after 1998. In 2006, Pamela made a brief cameo in the online Muppet series From the Balcony. In 2010, she appeared as Snow White in the comic book series of Muppet Snow White. In 2015, the Pamela puppet was used for the Denise character in the pilot presentation of the Muppets TV series. Largely, though, Pamela Hamderson was a Muppet of the late 1990s. Full-time Baywatch babe and beyond. When Home Improvement first started in 1991, I don't think they gave Pamela's Lisa character much to do, because they couldn't think of things to have her do. Once she started on Baywatch in 1992, and she got so busy with that show, I don't think the Home Improvement show could have made her a bigger character. Pamela was just too busy. It was obvious that she had to choose one show over the other. Pamela chose Baywatch, and, as it turned out, this was a good career decision. She got recognition like nothing else. In late 1993, she got her first starring role in a film with Snapdragon. It was one of those B-level, direct-to-video erotic thrillers. Surprisingly, though, it had a good cast of actors. Like everything else Pamela had done, it played up her sexiness. In 1994, she was one of many featured players in the direct-to-video action movie Raw Justice. In this one, she played a hooker. Pamela was not exactly playing esteemed characters on TV or movies, but, at the very least, she gave them some glamour and dignity. Pamela had a rough time making this movie. There were simulated sex scenes. Way too energetic of sex scenes. Pamela ended up getting bruised, scratched, and bitten. It wasn't fun, and she realized that she didn't want to do that kind of thing again. After this experience, Pamela started establishing some boundaries, at least on screen. Her luck with movies started getting better. She did another direct-to-video movie in 1995, this time based on the Baywatch series. It was called Baywatch the Movie, Forbidden Paradise. A change in image. From 1989 until 1995, Pamela Anderson was known for being very sexy, but also cutesy and clean-looking. In the blink of an eye, she went from that to trashy sexy, a Hollywood party girl. Whatever she was going through, Pamela Anderson of the first half of the 1990s was different than Pamela Anderson of the second half of the 1990s. In early 1995, she married Tommy Lee, the drummer of heavy metal band Motley Crue, after knowing him for only 4 days. I like Motley Crue, but I never understood how Tommy Lee became the most popular member of the group. He's the only one you really hear about, and it's just because of the women he's been with and his messed up lifestyle. Tommy Lee's antics were known back then, so I just gotta say to Pamela, what the heck were you thinking? The insistence of calling herself Pamela Anderson Lee, or just Pamela Lee, during their 3-year marriage was most annoying. I think we all knew it wasn't lasting. Then she had 2 kids with him in 1996 and 1997. Tommy beat her up, went to jail, and they soon divorced. A bitter custody battle over their 2 sons went on until late 2002. During the time Pam was with Tommy, she got hepatitis C from him by sharing tattoo needles. It took her until 2015 to be cured of it. That's a long time. Since Tommy Lee, she has been married 4 more times. Her second husband was Kid Rock for 4 months. In 1996, during the time she was married to Tommy Lee, Pamela got her big break in a mainstream theatrical film with Barb Wire. It was based on the character of the same name from the Dark Horse Comics publisher. At the time, this movie flopped in theaters. It was deemed so bad, at first, that it became a punchline. Since then, it has developed a cult following. I always liked this movie. I really don't know why it did so badly at the time, and why people picked on it like they did. The character wasn't all that well known to the masses, and that might have been part of the problem. I thought Barbed Wire was an interesting action movie, quasi-science fiction, with a good cast of actors. There were 2 big things to come out of Barbed Wire. No, not those 2 big things. Well, okay, maybe 4. The first thing is that, for the first time, the public turned on Pamela Anderson. Never before had people picked on her for being a quote-unquote horrible bimbo actress. Critics were starting to retroactively damn her earlier acting roles. This was unfair. The second, and more important thing, is what Pamela started with the barbed wire tattoo craze. In 1995, when she was cast for the movie, she decided to get a barbed wire tattoo on her left bicep. The makeup people were going to paint it on her every day. Pamela thought that would be a hassle, so she had a tattoo artist sketch it on her to see if she'd like it. After a day, she realized she liked it and decided to get the tattoo for real. The barbed wire tattoo became a big part of Pamela Anderson's image. It also became a huge fashion statement of the 1990s and 2000s decades. Countless people, women and men alike, got barbed wire tattoos. Pamela was an established TV star, but was still considered a model. Her getting a tattoo is what made it fashionable for other models to start getting tattoos. No longer was Pamela Anderson a clean-cut blondie. Now she was trampy glamour. For better or worse, the Barbed Wire movie changed Pamela Anderson in how people perceived her. Over time, audiences decided that they had been too harsh on the movie and grew to like it better. The shame of it is that I think there could have been a series. The sex tape scandal. Pamela gained a point of distinction, although not a good one, for being the subject of the first viral sex tape of the internet age. It was never intended to be released for public viewing. It was recorded in 1995 and featured Pamela with then-husband Tommy Lee. The tape was stolen from them, copies were made, and it was sold over the internet. It was the ultimate invasion of privacy. Early in 1996, lots of lawsuits developed. People that shouldn't have made money from it made a lot of money from it. The whole thing is very seedy, and I don't like to get into this stuff too much, but it was an important event in Pamela's life. Selling this tape was still big business through 2011, and I think you'll always be able to find it somewhere. Pam and Tommy lost a lot of credence as victims because they talked about their sex life a lot, and Pamela gained her fame for posing nude. That really doesn't mean someone should get away with selling your sex tape, but the legal system wasn't sympathetic. It's a bad spot to be in, but that's why you've got to watch what you do and say. The sex tape scandal showed everyone just how awful and unstoppable the internet could be. I would like to say that things got better in that regard, but, you know. The V.I.P. era. After the Barb Wire movie tanked, unjustly I might add, so did Pamela's chances of being the leading lady of Hollywood A pictures. She appeared in movies after this, even big ones, but never as a lead. Any movie where she had a big part after Barb Wire was an independent movie. In 1997, she left Baywatch. This was a major time of transition for Pamela. She had a lot going on in her life, and not all of it good. In 1998, she got her next great shot of fame with the action comedy TV series V.I.P. It was a syndicated series, like Baywatch, and lasted for 4 seasons. If you're a fan of this show, fine, but I think it's terrible. I really wanted to like it because I like Pamela Anderson, but this show just doesn't get it. Pamela plays Valerie Irons, a woman who accidentally saves a celebrity. She is then hired by a real bodyguard agency as a figurehead while the real professionals handle the cases. The agency calls itself V.I.P, Valerie Irons Protection. Odd enough, it's Valerie's lack of skill that defeats the bad guys. For me, I think the show is too over the top. It goes out of its way to make Valerie look like an idiot. It plays off of Pamela's real-life tabloid image. I thought she had much better characters with Lisa, CJ, and Barb Wire. Without getting too mean, I'm going to leave my criticism right there. At any rate, from 1998 to 2002, this is what kept Pamela in the spotlight. Like before, she continued to make appearances in other TV shows and movies. In 2002, she had a memorable cameo in the live-action Scooby-Doo film. This was actually pretty cool, and I only wish they had shown more of her. After V.I.P. After the successful run of V.I.P., Pamela still continued to act, but she became one of those celebrities that was just around rather than the sensation she had been from 1992 to 2002. It's mostly been one-off appearances in movies and TV shows, but there have been a few notable things. In 2003, she reprised her role of CJ Parker in the TV movie Baywatch Hawaiian Wedding. This was the last go-around for the original run of Baywatch that started way back in 1989. In it, CJ has opened a bar and grill in Hawaii. At the end of the movie, she gets married to an employee named Lorenzo. We didn't see CJ again until 2017 with the theatrical film reboot of Baywatch. We don't see her until the last few minutes of the film. It is revealed that Pamela's CJ is Captain CJ Parker, and that she manages the Hawaii Lifeguard Division. It also turns out that she is the mother of the CJ Parker in the movie, played by Kelly Rohrbach. If this was following the continuity of the show, that would mean that CJ gave up her bar and divorced Lorenzo. The weird thing is that there was only a 14-year gap from the TV movie to this movie. Kelly Rohrbach's CJ was definitely past 14. From 2005 to early 2006, Pamela was in a short-lived sitcom on Fox called Stacked. Only 19 episodes were made, with 5 of them never being aired. However, the entire series would later be released on DVD. To be truthful, I thought this show was a good thing for her. Her leading man in the show was Elon Gold, an exceptionally good comedian who has been grossly overlooked since the 1990s. He should really be more famous than he is. The dude makes me laugh. In the show, Pamela plays Skylar, a dumb party girl who is looking for a steadier lifestyle. She gets a job at a small bookstore called Stacked Books, which is owned by Elon Gold's character Gavin and his brother Stuart. Initially, Gavin disapproves of Skylar and is not pleased with Stuart's hiring of her. Stuart was a lot more taken with Skylar. However, Gavin and Skylar have a lot more common ground than he thinks, being unlucky in love himself. Throughout the series, there is definitely more of a romance brewing. The store's best customer is a retired rocket scientist played by Christopher Lloyd. This show had a lot going on, and it deserved more of a chance than it got. Had this taken off, I think people would have started to see Pamela as more of a legitimate actress rather than eye candy. From 2010 to 2021, Pamela was in a lot of reality television shows. The less said about this, the better. Reality TV sucks. In 2022, she made an acting comeback and has been going strong ever since. That year, she made her Broadway debut in Chicago. The next year, she was the subject of a Netflix documentary. At the same time, she released her successful autobiography. 2024 was a very good year for Pamela. She was cast as the lead in the independent drama film The Last Showgirl. It wasn't a huge moneymaker, but it earned her a lot of critical praise for her acting. She was never taken serious before like this. It will be interesting to see what she does next. It's been quite a roller coaster ride when it comes to Pamela Anderson. But she made herself memorable, for sure. And I do think she enjoys being famous. She has put herself out there, and has never really gone away. Pamela took characters that some actresses would use as stepping stones to fame, and made a career out of them, becoming very esteemed in the process. Of course she earns her status as a Babe of the Day, Babe of the Day.